Welcome to Syncfusion's webinar, Business Dashboards Made Easy. My name is Marisa Keller-Outen, Director of Business Development at Syncfusion, and your moderator for this webinar. Our presenter today is Daniel Jebaraj. As Vice President, Daniel leads Syncfusion's product development and has over 15 years of experience leading software development teams working on the Microsoft platform. Before joining Syncfusion in 2001, Daniel managed teams at Roadway Software. Today he will do a live demo showcasing the Syncfusion dashboard platform and then address any audience questions at the end during the last 20 minutes. If you have a question for the presenter, please enter it into the chat question box. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can. This webinar is being recorded. The recording will be available afterwards. We'll send an email to all registrants letting them know how to access that recording. Before I hand this over to Daniel, I just wanted to give a brief overview about Syncfusion in case you aren't already familiar with us. Syncfusion delivers a broad range of web, mobile, and desktop controls coupled with a service-oriented approach throughout the entire application lifecycle. We've been in business since 2001 and are headquartered in Research Triangle Park, North Carolina. We have more than 12,000 organizations worldwide working with our software in mission-critical applications. We have more than 750,000 users. And I'll hand the presentation over to Daniel.
Thanks, Marissa. Thanks for the introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and actually switch to my screen. Just give me 1 minute to do that. So my screen should be up. So thank you everyone for joining wherever you are, whatever time zone. I know there are a lot of people joining today and we welcome all of you and thank you very much for your time. So today's presentation, for those of you who already attended the last presentation on the dashboard platform, which was more of an introductory presentation, went through all the features at a high level. We won't go through everything during this webinar. We will stay away from some of the features that we covered, some of the more basic features that we covered during the last webinar. I will actually show a few dashboards where we start everything from scratch. So those who didn't attend the last webinar can get a pretty good idea of what's going on. But if you need more detail or if you're looking at this for the first time, I encourage you to watch the last webinar. It's on our YouTube channel. When we post this and send an email out, we will be sure to mention and provide a link to the earlier webinar as well. So dashboards are becoming ubiquitous in many organizations. There's increasingly a need to share the data across the organization, not just with the decision makers, but with all the stakeholders in the organization. And dashboards are a really convenient way to provide that information across the organization. They're very different from reports in the sense that dashboards are designed to be visually appealing and to have the data jump out at you. They communicate current status, including key performance indicators that are unique to your environment, to your organization, to your performance metrics and so forth. They can also be designed to communicate historical information so that you can have a basis for ready comparison. Dashboards are designed to be really appealing and easy to absorb. It would be very hard to miss information that's provided on a dashboard in a manner similar to what you are used to seeing on your car dashboard, for instance, when you're running out of gas. Also, everything that we see today can certainly be replicated with a custom application and source code and different components being wired together to perform these features. But the key benefit of using a business dashboard platform is that they're designed to be easy to customize and deploy. Business needs change continuously, and when your needs are not the same as they were last week or last month, you want to have a platform that's easy to customize and deploy. And that's kind of one of the major features of the dashboard platform, is that it's very easy to customize and to be able to deploy a changed version of what you already had. So it's designed, the Syncfusion dashboard platform is designed to be an end-to-end solution for creating and sharing interactive dashboards. So we have both parts covered. We have the design part of it covered, and we also have the distribution part of it covered. So for the design, we have an easy-to-use designer application which is used for composing dashboards. And then for the distribution part of it, we have a dashboard server interface which allows you to present and share the dashboards that you produce with the rest of your team or with the rest of the world. There's also seamless integration with the Syncfusion Big Data platform, which is a major plus with the Syncfusion dashboard platform, because you're able to really bring in data from any data source and be able to bring it into a form where you can display it on the dashboard. And we'll mention that also and talk about that briefly as well. So this is a conceptual overview of the dashboard creation process. We have three distinct stages. We have to prepare the data, we have to compose the actual dashboards using the designer, and then we publish the dashboards for distribution. Now, preparation is an important step. We have existing data is usually spread out across multiple files, multiple databases, multiple formats, really different silos of information. And you have different security settings that may apply to each of these different archival procedures and so forth. And the goal of analytics platform is to really bring all of these together basically in a way that makes sense for your business needs. And we kind of classify that process of bringing this data together as simple ETL or complex ETL. The differentiation here in this case is primarily one of convenience for our purposes. There are certain things that we handle within the dashboard platform design itself, and we refer to those as simple ETL. We'll walk through some of those use cases really briefly during the demo. We also have other use cases which we refer to as complex ETL, which are outside the scope of the dashboard environment. But we do have two products that are specially suited for that purpose. So one product is the Syncfusion Big Data Platform. If you have a system that is that would benefit from having data come into Hadoop, and then really everything can be processed within the Hadoop ecosystem, then the Syncfusion Big Data Platform is a really good fit for that. It can handle any amount of data. You can scale up or scale down as you need to by simply adding additional data nodes. So that's something that's pretty straightforward. There are other cases where you don't quite need the power of a platform such as the Syncfusion Big Data Platform, but you want to really have easy to use a way to really customize your data flow from the source to the finish, basically the transform data. And that is the purpose of the Syncfusion Data Preparation Platform. The Syncfusion Data Preparation Platform is based on an Apache project called Apache NIFI platform. It was originally developed by the NSA, the US NSA, and then open sourced and contributed to the Apache Foundation. Syncfusion has been using it for a while, and we productized it and have made it available on Windows. It's a very powerful platform, very feature-rich, and we will be taking a brief look at that also today as part of the presentation. So once you have the transformed data that you bring in, then the designer can readily consume that data. We have ready-made widgets, which we will talk about today. And then once you have the design completed and the data wired, then you can publish that to the dashboard server. The dashboard server is able to organize your information, organize your dashboards. It also is able to manage users both internally and also with an external system such as Active Directory. It also does offer other features such as scheduling, where you can schedule a certain report to go out and be mailed to your users at regular intervals and so forth. And we'll look briefly at each of those as well. So another thing that we also offer as part of the dashboard platform is the ability to embed the dashboard platform within your applications. If you are an Essential Studio customer, then you have support for embedding dashboards within your own applications. It is more of an advanced use case that we will not be going into any detail today, but know that that is available. There are several samples that are also shipped as part of the SDK version of the dashboard, and you can take a look at that and kind of go from there. So the dashboard designer is a bunch of it offers a bunch of widgets on a single surface. Actually, let me close out this notification system. Okay, sorry about that. So the dashboard designer is designed to connect to a variety of data sources, and in the same manner as with the platform, it can connect to a variety of data sources and bring in that data. And then once you bring in the data, then you're able to visualize everything with the rich collection of widgets. The designer looks like this. I have a screenshot. That's kind of how it looks. The server is designed to take the dashboards that are produced by the designer to be able to publish them and then to share them with the rest of the world, and we'll go through both. Okay, so at this point I will stop the presentation, pause that, and then switch to the demo. We'll come back to the presentation when we look at the list of new features. So the dashboard designer, when you install the dashboard product, you have two different things that you can install. You install the dashboard designer, and you also install a local server. Now the local server is one that is usually installed on your machine. It makes it easy to deploy and test locally on your machine without having access to an actual server, basically. But it's the same exact version that would run within IIS, but usually running within IIS Express on your local machine. So I have the IIS Express version of the server also installed on my machine. So that's readily available to test the dashboards that we produce. Now we'll actually create a few basic dashboards, and again, if you went through the last webinar, this is going to be similar information, but I urge you to bear with me because some of you may have not been exposed to the platform, so I want to give a basic starting point here. So I'm going to connect to the Northwind data source first, and just going to bring in some data from the Northwind system. I have SQL Server Express running on my machine. Just going to test the connection real quick, and then connect to Northwind. Okay. So once I connect to Northwind, the system goes out and grabs all the metadata from there and lists all the tables that I have available. I also have access to views and stored procedures. In this case, I'm just going to worry about the orders information because that's the part that I want to display on a dashboard. So the first thing I do is I bring in the orders table. I also want to bring in the customers table. So you see that with every step as I bring in additional tables, the join automatically happens, and the join data is actually also displayed at the bottom in a grid here. So I can see that right away. If I look at the join editor, then you can see that the join editor actually picked up this information and was able to kind of really make a sensible decision about the join, but you can customize this if you need to. And I'm also going to bring in order details, so I'm going to do that. So that's also picked up and automatically displayed as a flat table now, basically. Two quick things that I want to show is often you want to bring in filters. If you don't want to bring in all the data from the server, you want to bring in filters. So I can actually go in and say I want to filter by customer ID, for instance. I want to say I don't want to bring in all the customers. I want to bring in only certain customers and so forth. So that's something that will limit the amount of data that's coming back from the server, so you can do that. When you do that, it affects the code that's being generated, the SQL that's being generated behind the scenes to send to the server, and that's really all that's happening behind the scenes. The designer takes care of all that for you, basically. So you can do that. The other thing that I want to show real quick is we have really powerful support for expressions. So if you want to have calculated columns or expressions, it's very easy to add support for that. There's a rich set of functions that are listed here. These are all similar to Excel, kind of like Excel-like functions, so you can actually look at them, pertain to string processing, numeric processing, years, users, those kinds of things, and it's very easy to use them. So in this case, I just want to create a simple line total. I want to just, for every item, I want to calculate the total cost of that item. So I want to just bring in the quantity, unit price, and then the discount. So in this case, the discount is a percentage of the total value. So I have to subtract that from 1 to get the actual price. So I'm just doing that. I'm just putting this there, multiplication symbols, and that's it. I save it. I get an additional field called the line total. So you can see this right here. So this is kind of like a simple way to bring in data sources, merge them, create expressions, and so forth. This is stuff that we will refer to as simple ETL within the designer itself. So I'll go back and I'm ready to actually work on the dashboard. So the dashboard surface has a 12 by 6 grid, so just designed for layout. I'm going to actually bring in a bar chart first. So just real quick, drag and drop, resize it to whatever size I want. And then I click on the little gear icon there, the widget settings. And this is consistent for most of the widgets that are out there. And I click on the properties to customize the look and feel and other settings that affect its behavior, but I'm more interested in the data. So in this case, I want to summarize the orders by country. So that's the first thing I want to do. So I will go down, and for the series, I'll bring in the dimension named country here from the flat data set that we created. And then I also want to display order count for each country. So for this, I just have to bring in the order ID, and then I can just do a distinct count on the order ID, basically. That's really all I need. And then I give it a few seconds to build a preview, but I can also navigate back to the dashboard at this point. And the same preview is actually going to be displayed here. So this is going to take a little bit of more than a few seconds, because it's actually bringing in all the data and then preparing those summaries. And once that data is there, then we will see a fairly cluttered chart, which we will fix in a minute. So you see that all the countries are displayed there with all the orders that came from there for the period of time that we're looking at. So let's go back to the chart here. And often that's not what you want a dashboard to look like. You want it to be filtered to display only like maybe the top 5 values or something, basically. So in this case, I'm going to go with the top 5. So I'm going to say more is top, and then the 5 is really all I care about. I'm going to actually say I want to do that by order ID and again by distinct count. So that's really all that's required. So again, a few seconds to apply the settings. So those are the top 5 countries. I can also now preview this in an actual browser. And the way that works is this is not connecting to any special server running on my machine. The designer comes with its own built-in server, and that's used for preview purposes. So you don't have to even install the local server. So if you're working with a remote server for actually publishing the dashboards, you don't need to actually install a local server also. You can simply use the designer preview server, and that will also look exactly the same as with the other, the actual final server, basically. Okay. So that's a quick look at this. And one more thing I want to quickly show, because that also comes up quite often, is drill down. So with the drill down, I want to have a country at the top level, and then I want to have a city at the next level. So it'll ask me, I just drag the city dimension and ask me, do you want to enable multi-level drill? I say yes. If I say no, it will simply replace country with city, and the chart will update to show the order count by country, city instead of country. In this case, I want to drill down. I want the country to be at the top level, and then I want the city information by country to be at the next level. So I did that. Nothing else changes, so I can actually go in and do a preview now. Let me actually do that. Let me have that load come up. So I see now I can click on USA, for instance, and it tells me that these are the cities that bought and how much did they buy, and Germany in the same way, basically. It's very straightforward to enable this. Okay. So just one more thing that I want to cover with the basic features, the filtering, basically. So with dashboards, you don't want to bring in all the data. You want to have filters applied to the data. So it may be filters that pertain to territories or date ranges and so forth. And it has the dashboard designer, the dashboard system has rich support for enabling filters. So in this case, I'm going to bring in a date picker as a filter. So I'm going to bring it in, just drop it, resize it. Okay. So my goal here is to have this date picker affect the chart. The chart currently displays orders for the entire period that we have information in the system. I want to actually restrict that to whatever the user wants to select, basically. So I click on the same widget for the date picker. I go back to data here. I want to bring in the order date as the source. That's the filter that's going to be applied. And then for properties, let me just say date range here, so it has a more meaningful display. And then instead of a single date value, I want to actually specify a range. So that's really all the settings that I need to have. And then I come back here, this updates. I can go back and do a preview now. and it'll come up with a filter, with a date range filter here. It's the exact same chart. I do the filter. So you see that this is actually from 96 to 98. I can actually now click here and say I want to change this. I want to go from 4th, actually I want to go from 4th 96 to maybe 98 April 1. So I can apply that, and then the data will be updated according to that date range. And I can clear the filter here basically. So that's how that works. If you look at the actual way that the filter is configured here, it's pretty clear how this works. There's a master widget here, and then there's a listener widget. It picked it up automatically because this was a filter and this was a listener, but I can actually have the chart opt out of participating in that particular filter by simply unchecking that. And then it applies the values, the source values from that range as a filter on the chart basically. It's very straightforward. You can customize it any way you want basically. So that's a quick run through of just the basic dashboard platform. Now we are ready to actually publish this to a dashboard server. So I have a local server instance running, so I'll make sure I'm connected. I'll just log out so I can log back in. So I can log in now. Just give me 1 second to locate my server's URL here. Okay. So I started the server, and this is running it on IIS Express, and that's my local URL. I'm going to use my username and password. Okay, and I'm going to log in now. So it's going to authenticate, and once I'm just going to switch yes. Okay, so now I'm logged in. Now I'm going to actually just quickly publish this dashboard that we did to the server basically. I'm just going to save this dashboard and maybe going to call it webinar test, and I'm going to publish that. Yep, webinar test is good. So I'll just go ahead and publish it. Yes, I want to view it, the browser. So this brings up my login screen. So that's the dashboard that we just built, and it's published and available now. I'll actually navigate up to the actual root dashboard. I can actually navigate up to the root dashboard and look at the actual list of dashboards there. Our dashboard will also be there as part of the list there. So these are the dashboards I have on my system. Many of these are samples that are shipped to the system. These are some dashboards that I created. This is the last one that I created here, the webinar test sample, and you see that these are all other samples that are available. Now, one thing that you can kind of do with any dashboards that's available in the system is that you can actually look at these context menu settings right here. So you can bring in any kind of, you can actually open the dashboard in the dashboard designer. So if you have access to the dashboard server, then you can bring it in, you can bring in the dashboard designer and then make changes and then republish it if you have the right settings. We'll look at the make public option in a little bit, but then you can actually look at the link, you can do scheduling and so forth. So two things that I want to quickly look at. I want to look at the scheduling and then the managing of permissions. So scheduling, the first thing that I want to do with the scheduling is to just load up the dialog that comes up that allows you to configure a schedule. So this comes up, so I just clicked on that and brought up the schedule here. So I can just say this is my test schedule, and I can actually configure all of this to take whatever settings I want. I can say I want it to be every day, every weekday, a certain time, all of that, and then I can click on next. And then the only format that we have supported now for going out as a message is the image format basically. So I can select that. There will be more formats in the future, but right now we only support images. I'm going to just say, okay, I want this to go to Andrew and Janet, and that's it. I can actually set that, And then I can also select a group. I only have an administrator group here. I don't have anybody else. I can also add external email addresses. We configure an email server on the dashboard, and you can use that. Whoever is addressable from that server, you can actually go ahead and schedule it. And that's all you really need to do. You can click on schedule, and then it says it's been scheduled, and you can click on the schedules here to see that. Okay, so the next thing that you can do is you can manage users within the system. So we have a list of users that are already set up in the system. You can go ahead and configure them, make changes, do those kinds of things here. It also allows you to integrate with Active Directory. So if you're bringing in users from Active Directory or importing them from a CSV file or database, you can do all of that. So it's fairly easy to do these things. There's also general configuration here where you can go in and change settings to, for example, the name of the server, the URL, the logo to use, and all of that can be configured. The datetime format and all that can be set here. This is the email settings that is used to send out the email and so forth, basically. Okay, so that's just a quick run through the platform. Now, going to the new features that were introduced in the last few months, I want to start with the features that were most often requested. We had a request for user-based filters. Many customers were interested in user-based filters, and with user-based filters, you can actually restrict data to certain users. You can also lump users together and kind of cluster them and have a reporting relationship or something of that sort, and have them all tied together, basically. So I'm going to actually show a demo of the user-based filters. So I'm going to open another dashboard, one that has employee information configured. So I'll just give it a minute to come up. Okay, so this is very similar to what we did. It has a few charts. It has a grid. We didn't cover the grid this time, but in the last webinar we did cover the grid and the heat map and those kinds of, the tree map and those kinds of things. You can go back and look at those if you have any questions on using those, or you can refer to the documentation and samples. So this is a dashboard which is to have sales information for Northwind traders. Now, the one thing I want to do is, if I run this by default, I get information for the entire company, basically. But that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is I want to bring in user information into the system and say I want to look by rep, basically. So for that, I can go in and set up these settings. So I can set up user filters. So with user filters, those are the mappings which specify who is able to do what. So I'll just open a pre-saved user filter that I have called the employee filter. You can create these filters with the dashboard and save them, and you can retrieve them again. They're saved as XML files. And in this case, I have a list of the users on the system, basically. So these are the users in the dashboard system. And with this particular file, I want to give the permissions that are given here. I want Andrew Fuller to be able to look at his own information. I also want to be able to look at Anne's information, Janet's information. None of the others have any permissions on the system, as you can see here. So this is the only thing that's allowed. And for Andrew, he can look at his own information, look at Andrew, Anne and Janet, basically. So in this case, I'm just listing their first names, but I can display anything here. Okay, so I'm just going to say OK. And you also need to change the dashboard a little bit now to accommodate that change that we made. So I'm going to go in and actually change the dashboard to make that additional filter visible, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and actually bring in a new filter. I'm going to bring in a combo box filter this time. I'm going to drag it, resize it. So I'm just going to actually say, this is actually tied to first name, not typical, but that's how I have it configured. So I'm just going to say that. And that should be it. Okay, that's the user filter that we have now. So now everything should be automatically picked up, and because of my user mappings, it will enforce that requirement. So when I preview it, you will see that I have a little drop down here. I'm no longer going to preview as myself. I'm going to actually preview as Andrew now. So I'm just going to click that. It will take me to the server. Okay. So now this is the information for everybody on that list. But now I can switch to just Andrew, for instance. I'm logged in as Andrew now. So I can switch to see his information. I can look at Anne's information. I can look at information for Janet. And I can actually clear it and get information for all of us together, basically, summarized, rolled up. So that's how user filters work. So that was one important feature request that we had. The other feature request that we had was support for linked dashboards. And with linked dashboards, they work like drill downs, but they are kind of at the dashboard level. They're not at the widget level. So I'll give a quick example of linked dashboards. So this is a dashboard that we have hosted on the main demo server that we run. It's dashboardserver.syncfusion.com. So this is going to come up, and here you will see that this particular dashboard has hyperlinks within this widget. So I can click on Margaret or Andrew and I can navigate to another dashboard. So when I go to another dashboard, the context from the first dashboard, whatever context I deem useful, is passed to the second dashboard, basically. It's very easy to configure, but it's very powerful also at the same time. Now I can actually look at this dashboard and let me go back here. This is the customer support analysis dashboard. I'm going to navigate back up to the server customer support analysis dashboard. Going to log in. So this is the database, the dashboard that I looked at, the customer support analysis representative performance analysis dashboard. So I can actually go in and actually download that dashboard and look at how it's wired up. It's loading. I'm just on a different screen now. Move it right here. Okay, so that's the dashboard that we looked at. Sorry, I think this is the wrong one. It's not the right one. Customers. Oh, this is the right one. I'm sorry about that. I should have downloaded the right one. So just give me a minute. Okay, when that's loading, I just want to also show a few other things quickly. We had requests for making dashboards public, so that's something that we added with this release. So if I go back to my server here, I can log in and make a dashboard public. And once you make it public, it will be visible to everyone. You don't really have to authenticate them, and they don't need to have a account on the system. Nothing is needed. Everything will just work without any form of authentication. So if you want to display public data on your organization, then you can do this. So in this case, I'm just going to make the last dashboard that we uploaded public. So I'm just going to make that public. So I'm just going to click Make Public. So that's the link to the dashboard. And then I'm just going to open up another browser now just to make sure that I'm not authenticated. Just going to go for an incognito window, and I just paste that URL, and everything should just come up without any additional authentication or anything. So you can see that the dashboard came up without additional authentication. Okay, so I'll go back to my linked dashboard sample, the one that we looked at. This is just the actual dashboard that we configured to make this work. So we have a, that's the top 5 support representatives. If you look at that, this is the actual drill down. So this is pointing to the actual URL where the other dashboard is located, and then this is where we set the parameters, the context that's passed basically. So that's really all there is to this. So once this dialog comes up, then you will be able to see. So also, yeah, these are the two things. So I have source widgets that are coming, providing the data on the main dashboard, and then the link dashboard is the one with the information that's coming in from the source dashboard, and that's all passed in as an encrypted string. You can also have a human readable string pass the same information in. We have that format specified in the help file, so you can look it up and use that also in case you don't need to have those an encrypted kind of string pass through the system. Then you can do that. You can make that user-friendly basically. Okay, so that's link dashboards. We also have support with this release. Just want to show real quick support for the dashboard server being responsive. So I'm just going to switch to a mobile layout and just refresh the dashboard server. So that's the responsive layout. It loads everything on a mobile device. This is how it would appear. So you can still work with it and do everything that you would expect to do with the dashboard server, basically. Okay, I'll switch back to the normal look and feel. Just one other thing I wanted to show with the dashboards is that we also added support for exporting to PDF. That is a recent feature request that we added. There's already support for Excel, images, and now we added support for PDF. So you could just save everything as a PDF and email to someone or share it with someone. Okay, so that's a quick run through of some of the key features that we added. I also want to have a quick note about something that I'm not going to demo now, but one that I would encourage you to take a look at. We added support for handling of huge data sets in the last several weeks. There was existing support with integration with Spark and the Syncfusion Big Data Platform, but with this we did a lot of work to fine-tune that with Spark and our implementation within the Big Data Platform, and we've documented our experience in a white paper. We also have a YouTube walkthrough. Both of those are linked here. When we share the slides, we will put those out. And the white paper itself is available on our portal, tech portal. You can download that and take a look at it. We can summarize and display 1 billion records of data using a 5-node cluster, and everything happens interactively, and you can play with it yourself. You can easily replicate that cluster with Azure and with the Syncfusion Big Data Platform. We document the whole thing there basically. Okay. The next thing I would like to take a few minutes to kind of quickly walk through is the Syncfusion data preparation platform. This is not going to be a demo of the data preparation platform. I'm not going to spend a lot of, I'm not going to be talking about it in a lot of detail. It's just going to be very basic information, but I think it will give you a sense of what the platform is capable of. Now I've downloaded and installed the beta version of the Syncfusion data preparation platform. It's still an internal beta. We haven't made it public yet. As I mentioned, it's built on the Apache NiFi platform, which was originally developed by the NSA and used for many years by them. It's a very, very powerful platform. So in a nutshell, what it allows you to do is, instead of writing code to manage your ETL process, you can do this with a workflow. So you can have these processors that are built into the system, and you can extend them with Java, you can extend them with C#, and we provide samples on how you can do this. There's a whole collection of these processors that are shipped with the system itself. So if I drag and drop this, you'll get an idea of the processors that are available. All of these are processed within the system. Every known data type, listening to UDP, listening to TCP, looking at log files, reading files, is just the whole 9 yards. Very, very complete and comprehensive support for this. And then you can take this, and then you have a number of processing steps that you can configure. Everything is configurable, so you're not writing any code. You're just configuring things, and you're persisting them as templates on your server. And then when the workflow runs, then the workflow gets executed, and those actions happen. It's very, very powerful. It's very configurable. It's very much customizable. You also have complete data provenance. You can kind of trace data and figure out. You can go from the actual resulting data to the source data. You can go through it in steps and arrive at the actual process that resulted in a particular data coming into the system, basically. So I'm just going to show a very quick demo. I have this basic text-to-text conversion demo. So I'm getting a file of data. It's a CSV file. So if I look at the configuration, this is the CSV file that I'm getting. I can look at the properties, and this is a folder called AdventureWorks. It has a single CSV file, but you can bring in any number of files. And then I'm going to split it. So if you look at the configuration again, you can see that this actually splits on line count, and then it passes the split lines to the next level. At the next level, I have regular expression that parses out the CSV. So I have 6 fields that are comma separated, and the resulting information is moved into this setting called matches. And then I'm going to do replacement, I'm going to do a merge, and then finally I write it to an output file, basically. So that's kind of the system that's running. So I'm going to go ahead and actually show this running. Just let me go to the samples folder. Okay, so this already ran once. I have this here. So this is the data folder where the AdventureWorks information is available. So this is my this is the actual information. So you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 fields of information: time, date, social security number, those kinds of things. And then the resulting data set is going to have more fields. I think we add like 4 fields there, and it also adds some additional information to each of those data points, basically. So I'm going to go in and actually delete the output right now, and then run this. So I'm going to run this workflow, and it will go through and just take a few seconds to run. Oh, actually, I shouldn't have selected that. That's done, and then this is my output. So this is with all the other fields that were derived from this field that perform the substitution and all of that. Just gives you an idea of what's possible. So this is the output field. If you look at the configuration, you can see that this is really written to this folder and so forth, basically. So everything is very customizable. It's very powerful. We are already running it with a few customers, and it's you can save days and months of effort and troubleshooting and managing these ETL flows. It's very straightforward to configure, very easy to run. It's completely supported as part of the Syncfusion license, global license. If you have a dashboard platform or you have the big data platform, you get access to all of these, and it's licensed the same way. It's all included in the global license if you already have a global license. So that's the data preparation platform, and again, once it's available, we'll send an email out informing you about it. Just quickly a note on the flat license. So if you qualify for the community license, if your revenue is less than $1 million, it's completely free. All of the products are free. So you can obtain access to them through the community license. There's details on our website. If your revenue is more than $1 million up to any level, then we have pricing that starts at $39.95. And with the flat pricing, we don't track the number of users, the number of people that develop against the platform, number of machines, number of servers, whether you deploy on Azure or anywhere. It's just truly unlimited in every sense of the word. So we encourage you to take a look at that. If you're interested, there is a little form that you can complete on our website, and we will contact you and provide you pricing. It's no questions asked. We'll give you the price, and we can work with you on that. As we mentioned, we will cover these questions in more detail in a blog post, and also make the recording available along with the PDF version of the slides. Thank you very much for your time today. Marissa, it's back to you.
Great. Well, thank you so much for Daniel for presenting today. We appreciate it, and thank you everyone for attending. We need to conclude the session. We really hope that you enjoyed it, and please watch your email inboxes for a follow-up email with a link to the recording of the presentation. Thank you again for your time and interest.